Hello, everybody out there in baseball land. Welcome to Baseball Banter Broadcast. Don't adjust your sets, don't adjust your YouTube videos. Please stop hitting your computer. People are going to start staring at you. I'm Roman Rodriguez, and your resident Tampa Bay Rays fan and correspondent. And I'm joined with me today, Mark, Mr. Yankee himself. Mark, how you doing today?
Roman, I'm having a fantastic day. How about yourself?
If I was any better, you would probably call me Patrick Zablinski. That's who you've called me. Yeah, you see, there you go. I'm turning it around. So today, the reason why we're talking today is we're going to be focusing on the Rays and their new stadium. Allegedly, we got a new stadium.
Possibly.
Yeah. It looks pretty. Serious. You know, it looks like that they're about to put a ring on it. You know, put down a knee and say, "Will you be my stadium for the next 20 or 30 years?
Will you be my land?"
There you go. There you go. So the reason why we are here, of course, myself, I've been in the Tampa Bay area for 25 years. Originally came in '99. Of course, the Rays came in '98. So I just missed the boat from being officially legit. So I was bandwagon fan, only 1 year removed. But you, my friend, you are in the Bay Area. You're in the Clearwater area, which is on the other side of Tampa in the county of Pinellas. Is that correct, Mark?
That is correct. I'm on the other side. I moved down here 2014, so not as long as you have. But when I first came down here, I was start off over in like the Brandon area of Tampa,
Okay.
and then migrated my way over to the Pinellas County side.
Okay.
And yes, I mean, like you said, you've been here. I never gave up my allegiances to my hometown team, the Yankees. That's I've been a fan from them for too long. It's not going to happen. So
that's no problem. I would not ask anything else, because what would I have to make fun of you for? I mean,
we made fun of the Rays. We've been making fun of the Rays for since their inception. So might as well you try to give it back.
No problem at all. It's no giving it back. I mean, you guys, the Yankees, they had to move from Baltimore to try and make something of themselves. We're staying where we're at, so we don't have to have bartenders buy the land and call us the Highlanders for a couple years.
Hey, it happens.
Yeah.
I know the history. Don't trust me. I know the history.
So, no problem at all. Well, let's talk history. How did we get to this point? How did we get to putting a ring on the stadium? Let's go ahead and go over why it's so interesting and annoying in some ways. So the Tampa Bay area, for many of you who know, many of you don't know, it's rich in history. Before there was Rays, the Tampa Bay area was home for pretty much every Major League Baseball team coming down for spring training. You can go down and you can talk to old timers. They would come to the Bay Area to watch the Reds play in Tampa. If you ever take a look at old Tampa Bay Bucks games and things like that, you'll see Pete Rose coming in with Johnny Bench, because their spring training home is where the Yankees currently have their spring training facilities for the lower level guys, the Dominican guys who come in. So the area has been really rich for years. And so finally, when the Rays got serious, or when the Tampa Bay area got serious, they built this dome called the Thunderdome. It had many different names, but it was in St. Petersburg. Mark, have you ever been to the Trop?
I have.
Okay.
That is something else there. I mean, I've gone there. My son and I've taken him over there. They do. I will say they do a good job, they have in the past, especially for like Little League Day, things like that. They get the kids, bring them on the field, kind of try to ingratiate them and kind of build up the fan base from grassroots, basically. Get them, kind of get their hooks in them when they're young to be a Rays fan, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Have the experience and the memories of, oh, look at this, I was on the field there. I was on the field like a big leaguer, and things like that.
Absolutely. When I first came to the Trop, it was in '99. We just moved down. I was all excited because my background is I was a military brat, so we moved around all the time. So I was really excited for the first time I got to have a hometown team. Fort Lee, Virginia didn't have a team. Yeah, the Baltimore Orioles, I guess you could say, adjacent. Or you could follow the AAA team, the Richmond Braves at the time period, which, that was good and well. I saw Ryan Klesko play, so that was pretty cool back in the day, just to really date myself. But I never really had a team, so when we moved here, I was so excited. I finished moving all the boxes, and I literally grabbed my mom's keys. Basically, I stole my mom's car. I go, Mom, I'm going out. And I just go. And I remember driving to the Trop. I remember seeing it because I saw a little bit of the Trop on like ESPN when they would like do specials on the new expansion teams. And I remember seeing Tropicana Field when the Giants were going to move to town. They did a lot of specials about where the Giants would be playing in the Thunderdome. And then, of course, at the last minute, the Giants struck a deal and got a new stadium and net, and they had the AT&T ballpark down there in the Docklands in San Francisco. So you're welcome, San Francisco. But so when I saw the Trop, I thought it was really cool. I bought a ticket. I rolled right up, bought a ticket, and when I stepped into the Tropicana Field, it was interesting. It was interesting. I for the record, I don't have an issue with the Trop. Good sightlines, no issues. I've been there a million times. I'm one of the 5 people that actually have no issues with it whatsoever. I like hanging out afterwards. No problems. You can get a good beer. You can get a good bite to eat. You're not too far away from downtown. You can go check out the beautiful Bay Area, not too far away. If you ever take a look at the views of the Trop, if you go high up, you'll see the beautiful bay. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. If it was an open stadium or if it was a retractable roof, you could sit out up top and you could see the skyline. It would be absolutely gorgeous. But for obvious purposes, because the area, as you may know, we rain a lot, we got heat, and we found that out when we had Major League Baseball for a year at the George. Yes, I'm going to call it George. They spent $15 million. We can call it what we want. So I'm not going to call it Steinbrenner Field. It's the George. So at the George, a lot of fans found out very quickly that it's hot, it's humid, it's rainy, it was enjoyable some aspects, but it can wear on you a little bit. So when we're talking about the stadium, so that was great, that was well. The Rays started having a good thing going, and then we're starting to look for new locations for the stadium. Now, before you moved here, did you hear about any like the different stadium proposals? Were you ever following that or not really, because it had nothing to do with the Yankees?
Well, it didn't have anything to do with Yankees, but I did. So when I moved down here, one of the first things I was always told by I would come down here for spring training baseball, and
okay.
I kind of when I started coming down for spring training, I kind of said, okay, it's a nice area. I kind of dig it, and I was kind of done with the rat race in New York. Mm-hmm. So it was either coming here or Miami, and Tampa was where I got a job to move to Tampa instead of Miami. And if I was getting a job in Miami, I would have been in Miami and had a different conversation about the Marlins instead. But we're here, and I knew a bunch of people, and everything they would tell me was, hey, the Rays are going to be moving out of Tropicana Field. They're looking for a stadium. This is as of mid 2010s. I know even before then they were looking in the 2000s of building right on the waterfront in St. Petersburg. Renovating Al Lang Stadium. I know that there was talks about moving back, doing the Montreal thing way back when. So I've heard these stories before, but they basically were like, everyone there that I knew was going, the Trop is a dump. Don't go to the Trop. Nobody shows up there. They're gonna move out of there. That's the biggest problem why nobody goes there, because it's in St. Petersburg. It's not here in proper Tampa. So don't go that way. It's kind of stupid to be over there. The stadium out there is really not the best. It's got to move in order for the Rays to be viable. They have to come to Tampa, within the Hillsborough or the Tampa city limits. They need to be. So that was kind of my introduction to it all. I had gone to games there. Like I went to Derek Jeter's last game at Tampa. So I got me and a couple guys from work rolled up there and got tickets the day of, not even having to worry about seating or anything like that. So I've had that experience there. It's not bad. I remember, when they had the Scar Shop over
Oh yeah.
on the top there, and then they got rid of that, and I forget. I don't even know what they have up there anymore, or had, I should say.
Yeah, it's been over a year, so it's hard to say.
Who knows what's coming back? Who's going to be there? Who's not going to be there? Like, I remember going to Peepo's, and I used to live close by Peepo's, so it was kind of like, oh, okay, I remember. You're right across the street from me, so now I can get my Cuban food there too. Like they were trying to tie into the history of Tampa with the of the old fashioned Cubans that were there, and they were trying to kind of have a lot of youth movement to come to the ballpark, trying to make it family friendly as well. Like you said, there was where the Trop is. There's plenty of bars that were right there, restaurants. Like, it was supposed to be in essence like a little village in and of itself for the fans. But the problem also comes down to is that you got a lot of people. It's either that the ones that were coming from Pinellas County a lot, or they were getting them from Bradenton or coming south. You weren't getting a lot coming across the bay from Tampa coming over here. It was like making that move, driving across the bay was they kind of had like a sickness, or like, oh, we don't have a passport to get across the other side here.
Yeah, because I was a military brat, whenever we went to a ball game, like, we would travel, an hour and a half, 2 hours to go see a ball game, then head back. So it's one of those things. If you want to go see baseball, you'll see baseball. I have many issues. For the record, I love the Tampa Bay area. I love Tampa. I'm here for 25 years. Pretty much, this is my girl, if you will, and I love her to death. Not to say she doesn't have flaws. Public transportation is one of them, but that's probably for another podcast or another day. And it looks like that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, no pun intended, with some light rail potentially coming very soon from the Orlando area, really helping us out. And lo and behold, that light rail station could touch right around where the proposed stadium's going to be. Shock. Oh. So we'll get more into that shortly. But in terms of the stadium itself, it's always gotten flack. I don't understand. Now, when I first moved here, there weren't any bars. That was really not the best part of town to be in my opinion. And there's only really one bar, and that was Ferg's. For those of you who don't know, there's this one bar that's nearby called Ferg's. It's pretty well known. Google it. You're welcome. A really good environment, really large, really spread out, but it's a lot of fun. So that was basically it. So you would drive there, you would see the Trop in the background, and you could go to Ferg's. Now, you would walk about maybe 10 blocks down, closer to the water, and then you'll find some fun places. Over time, that area around Ferg's really developed. So now you have more places, you have hotels, places to go, so on and so forth. So it really has sprawled up and really has become something of its own nature. And even St. Pete itself has really become a lot more than a sleepy retirement town. But in terms of where it's located at, to me, the Pinellas County area, a lot of retirees that are stuck in their ways. They're Phillies fans first, there's Cardinals fans first, they are Yankees fans first in the area. And they'll watch the Rays on TV, but they won't go to the stadium unless they're playing their Yankees or their Phillies or fill in the blank. Whereas the movement that was building was more in the Brandon area, more in the new Tampa area, which is in the upper areas of Hillsborough County, which Tampa belongs to, for those of you who don't know. And you really saw this forming where people were starting to be more focused on the Rays, even when they wore the green colors, even when they weren't relevant. Scott Kazmir was on the mound. Johnny Gomes was having his Jerry curl out of his helmet. Delman Young was the hot stuff prospect. Google it, you're welcome. And all those factors were coming about. So it was really interesting, because once they started getting good, Stu Sternberg started his, we need a stadium, we need to be relevant, we need new cash revenue. So some background on that is the first place they really pushed was, like you touched on, the Al Lang Stadium, which is a notorious spring training home for the Cardinals. Recently, at one point, it was Yankees back in like 1923, I think, give or take. I know there's a plaque right when you walk up, and it talks about all that fun nature. But more recently, it was the Cardinals, and so he was going to renovate it. It was going to be really cool. A very interesting design. Google it. It's a sail design where they were going to have canvas, and it looked like a sailboat. It was very interesting. It would have been right there on the water. Really, it would have been a very interesting environment. I'll give it that much. But it was still the same quote unquote headaches that a lot of people have with the Trop. You're just moving a little bit closer to water. It's a little bit more aesthetically. So still the same issues with the bridges, still the same issues with a lot of the commuting that people swore up and down that there was a problem. Now, the reason that stadium didn't go anywhere was because the city of St. Petersburg voted down. They didn't even want to vote for it to allot the funds to give them that stadium. So that created a sour, in my opinion, it created a sour taste in the owner at the time period, Stuart Sternberg. So then he started looking off, and then he started talking about other options. So from there, he pitched the Ybor City site. Now, did you ever know about the Ybor City site?
The recent one I heard about where I think there was a jail or a train. There was something along the lines. There was a big plot of land, and that's kind of where they wanted to be. And there was mass transportation that was coming into that area. Yeah. To connect with Orlando, and kind of bring people from northern Tampa coming down and Pasco County. But that was kind of like a half-hearted attempt. It seemed like I'm talking just the recent iteration of what they were trying to do. I don't know if they did it in the past, but that one was kind of I can't remember right now if it was this or the ill-fated Ybor City, part Montreal, where they were going to split the time.
I was going to get to that. Yeah.
But like I said, I'm trying to put myself in the right time frame. I don't know if there was a iteration where they were trying in Ybor before all this. So that's why I just wanted to at least let you know where I understand it.
I got the ball. I'm going to run with it, Coach. Don't you worry about it. So around the 2012 area, right before you came in, Ybor City. For those of you who don't know, Ybor City is kind of like the party district of Tampa. That's where a lot of the clubs are, dancing clubs. There's some good restaurants, a lot of the bars. So it really is kind of a place.
And mind you, just so people don't understand, when he says dancing bars, he does not mean topless dancing bars. He means regular dancing, because Tampa is known for, coming as an outsider. One of the first things I was always told is go on Dale Mabry. You will have to go to the gentlemen's clubs there. So want to have a different. Just when you say dancing, I don't want them to think that you were referring to that type of establishment.
I'm almost certain that no one thought that at all. But thank you very much. You got anything else you want to get off of your chest? Maybe some I don't know, baby oil.
Well, no, we're not doing a Diddy party right now.
No? Okay, well, maybe later. But anyways, let's go ahead and move the conversation back to something that probably won't get us banned. But no, so the Ybor City site, it was actually really cool, and there was actual legs. So what was going on is, long story short, the city of Tampa, with Ken Hagan being the city commissioner, he worked with a lot of the local city, and they were able to allot. So it was going to cost them about $930 million. It was going to be this beautiful domed glass, looking great in the heart of Ybor City, which is, it was the original cigar rolling factory back in the late 19th century, early 20th century. It was really the heart of Tampa, why Tampa was synonymous for cigars. So it was going to be there. There was going to be a design that was to homage that. That was great. The city was ready to pony up about $680 million, allegedly. $680 million. So that means that we're just short about $300 million. So who would pony that up? Well, Stu Sternberg, allegedly, was not having that. He's like, nah, you guys can do better than that. You guys can do better than that. So he kept on playing these games, in my opinion, and then the deal died. And of course,
I'd like to, if I can. So this, it's, and you're saying 2012. So this, don't forget, for those who don't know, this is on the heels of the Miami Marlins, and the Miami Marlins getting a fully funded stadium. So I understand. So in Stearns, I would assume, and I'm not a big fan of Stu, but what he was thinking is that if the Marlins can get that done, we should be able to get that done as well, and have it fully funded by county, city, state, the works, that they don't have to put a dollar bill into it. Like the Marlins did not have to put a dollar bill into what was used to, at that time was called Marlins Park before it became Loan Depot.
Yeah, absolutely. And down here locally, we heard the whispers of that. We were aware of that. And we just weren't doing that. And pretty much everyone and their grandmother was firm with Stu and said, hey, look, we'll go a while, because another thing that comes into the rationality of Hillsborough County is Raymond James Stadium. For those of you who don't know, Raymond James Stadium is where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. And let's go ahead and go in the Wayback Machine, everyone, hop on in. In 1995, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were a horrible franchise, synonymous with losing. Stop me if you heard this before. Synonymous with losing. And they got a new owner, the Glazers, and the Glazers were flirting with moving the team to LA. They were flirting with moving the team to LA, and there was some hot and heavy talks. It was starting to get very interesting. And then we stepped up. The Tampa Bay community stepped up, basically gave the sweetest of sweetheart deals to the Glazers. The stadium, parking, everything, the infrastructure would all be paid for. Basically, they didn't have to do anything, essentially. Now, I'm paraphrasing, so please don't hit me up in the comments saying, you're all wrong on that. You're correct. I'm probably not completely accurate, but it's the gist of it. But so we ponied up. So Hillsborough County and the people of Tampa, they still have that in the back of their throat. Now, when we're talking about professional sports, in comparison to when the Lightning got their new stadium in downtown Tampa, that was provided by a local investor. He had the land, he acquired it, and then he basically gave it to the owners, and then there's kind of a sweetheart deal behind the scenes to help procure that for the Lightning. So to tell two different franchises, tell two different stories on the two different properties. So Stu was going more for the Glazers thing, saying, well, hey, why can't we have this, blah, blah, blah. And where we're pointing to the Lightning, which, in 2010, 2011, they're getting relevant. They're starting to get better. Vinnick's coming around soon, so on and so forth. So we're really starting to build an identity there with the Lightning. And Stu's wanting more, looking very greedy. And in retrospect and in present time, he was looking greedy. And he kept on crying foul and things like that. So it was a tough time for everybody involved. Did you want me to back up a little bit, or are you good?
Keep going. Yeah, I was listening.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, no problem. So it's a tough time for everybody involved. And Stuart Sternberg continued to want more. So this is why when people talk about the Bay Area, they're like, oh, you guys are cheap. You guys, don't care. You don't show up, things like that. That's why you get people like myself and other people that kind of get a little bit huffed and say, no, we do care. We got fans here. We do have passion. Well, you guys can't even get a stadium, so on and so forth. It's like, we're willing to pony up $680 million for a new stadium. All you got to do is pony up $300. That's it. And we would cover the rest of the cost. He chose not to do so. And so how he responded to that is suddenly he shows up in the Salvador Dali Museum, and this was a stab to the heart. And he goes, you know what, I'm here at the Salvador Dali Museum, and to paraphrase, Stu was always great at showman and had a good little eye for showmanship. He goes, because Salvador Dali was very creative, and we need to get creative. So I propose the sister city model, because Tampa, it's quite evident that it will not work in Tampa anymore, but we can do half the season. So we'll spend half the season in Tampa, then the other half in Montreal. To me, that's when it's like, now we're a mockery of national baseball, if you will. People are like, what's going on in Tampa? You should just move the stadium. You should move it to Montreal. You should do this. And And it was very frustrating from the fans' perspective. And I'm certain it was probably frustrating for front office personnel, because if you're trying to get a big name free agent, they're not going to want to come down here. Where are you going to be in 5 years? So on and so forth. And you would have difficulty answering those questions. I'm not going to play half my games in Montreal. I don't know how to speak French. The same issues there. So it was a very difficult time period to really defend a lot of the ideas. And what was preposterous about the situation is we were getting ready for a playoff game. The Rays were getting ready for a playoff game, high profile, a lot of momentum, playing the Texas Rangers, doing a lot of good things. And Stuart Sternberg has imagined the possibilities, to paraphrase, on the back of the wall, talking about moving to Montreal, sharing the Montreal, team with Montreal. And to me, that was just a kick in the gut. Rather than really appealing to the area, he decided yet again to play with us, in my opinion. For the record, I have nothing but respect for Stuart Sternberg. He made us a winner. His ownership group, he brought the people in. He brought the idea of making not a GM, but head of baseball operations, treating it like a business, which you see many front offices do nowadays. He really did set the blueprint for that. A lot of what he was doing. So as easy as it is to take him while he's down, he did a lot of bright things, and he really did bring a winner to the Tampa Bay area. I mean, since 2008, the Rays have the third best record in all of Major League Baseball. Over the last 5 years, they got top 8 in the best record, the top 8 best records in all of Major League Baseball in the last 5 years. I mean, you keep on going back, they've been relevant, they've been winners. No, they haven't won World Series, I get it, no problem. But in terms of being relevant, in terms of having low payrolls and going head toe-to-toe with your Yankees or the Red Sox or the bigger markets, they're there. So the teams like Pittsburgh Pirates, the teams like Milwaukee Brewers, Kansas City Royals, which they got their championship, for them to make excuses going, we can't compete with these bigger markets, we show that it's quite plausible. And unlike the Oakland A's, where they would have pockets of relevancy and then they would be irrelevant for 5 or 6 years, the Rays continued, still to this day, even right now, you can't really completely discount them out, because they have a way to retool and readjust and re-envision being competitive. So to me, he started that. So for him to have the sister city situation, that was just a kick to the gut. And then, of course, bring in more relevant to nowadays. In my opinion, Major League Baseball got tired of it. They got tired of, because I feel what happened is Ron Manfred came in and he said, "What's going on?" He was like the parent, "What's going on here? Who started it?" Tampa's like, "He started it," and Stuart Sternberg said, "No, he started it." So he separated us, he talked to us, and he talked with the city officials, and he realized, in my opinion, he realized that, yes, Tampa Bay has been trying their best to do a stadium and has had tangible efforts. It has been what Stu likes. Probably talked to Stu and said, "Hey, what's going on?" Stu was like, "I don't want that. I want a better deal. I know they can give me a better deal if we continue to push." More than likely, and again, I'm not in the room, I'm just presuming. And then finally, Rob Manfred said, "No, enough's enough. You know what? Thank you for all you've done. Between you and I, $5 says if there's a new expansion team, don't be surprised if Steven Sternberg doesn't become the owner. Or if there's a team like the Mets, if they ever come up to for sale again." Yeah.
Because I know Stu Sternberg's originally from Rye, New York, or if you don't know Rye, New York, that is very affluent town, Westchester County, New York, just north of the Bronx. Borders on the Long Island Sound, like really close to Greenwich, Connecticut. But kind of putting in that kind of in area. Hedge funds are right around the corner from there. A lot of wealth, a lot of if you ever watched the movie Big, Playland, the whole scene, the amusement park Playland. That's in Rye, New York.
Oh.
So just kind of giving you little landmarks and whatever. I know Stu. I've heard stories, and a lot of other podcasters named David Sampson. He was a former Marlins executive. Yeah. He's talked about how Stu has always wanted to be in that area,
100%,
and tried to move the team up into that area. Not New York, but more like the Connecticut, New England area.
Yeah.
Which was getting the ire of the Yankees, getting the ire of the Mets, and was getting the ire of Red Sox Nation up there. So when you have those three conglomerates kind of saying no to you, and basically like the rest of baseball is going, no, that we're not going to allow this to happen. So he's kind of was fighting that fight as well. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying, just before he kind of seemed to be unceremoniously told to sell the team, they had a deal in Pinellas County. Yeah. They had a deal right down the street from where the current Tropicana field is. They were going to own the land, or 50-50 with the city, and the county. They were going to put half the money in there, and it was going to be owned. They were going to help revitalize and build this whole area. And the hurricane came, and then they started going, we can't make fun. We can't make. Yeah. We're trying to like the minute the hurricane came in there, they were looking to back out of all those deals and said, throw my hands up. We're not gonna do much else.
So a couple things about that. Number one, Stuart Sternberg owns. I think maybe he may still own the lands to Tropicana Field, or maybe that was part of the deal. $1.7 million may be part of that deal. But so that area around Tropicana Field, that large parcel that was going to be revitalized, that's all his land, essentially. So anything that's on it, he's getting from my understanding, he's getting a lot of the benefits to that. So for him to get the city involved to pony up like nearly $1 billion, they're part of the stadium cost that it would have been. He was also going to relinquish some of that land and lease it out, but he was still going to get some benefits of it, the parking and other things. So, that's why Stuart Sternberg was in no rush to get a stadium, because he was living high on the hog. He, in my opinion, and not just my opinion, but that's pretty well known, because he was getting a lot of benefits. So he was in no rush. He was crying foul and things like that. I personally feel that he was going a little bit Major League, the movie, where he was suppressing a lot of the attendance and to cry foul. I feel that if he really pushed hard, he probably could have gotten a All-Star game there at some point in the Trop. Now, for those who may not realize, the Rays are the only Major League Baseball team who have yet to host a All-Star game. And there's teams since they've existed, like the Mariners, have hosted it twice. And now we're going on the Cubs. They're going to be hosting it twice. So on and so forth. So it's one of those things that continue to show up and can be very irritating, because, the Bay Area would be so cool to see people come in on the boats and things like that, and have the red carpet, everything to that accordance. That could be a lot of fun. That was shown to be fun when the Lightning hosted the All-Star game for NHL. When the kids come in for the national championship in Ray J, the Super Bowls, it always shows up well. Having the Clearwater Beach not too far away from where you're at, having the correspondence, set up on Clearwater Beach, picturesque there, and just have a good time. So for him to cry foul and things like that and not give us a true opportunity to really show up. I mean, there's no games WBC. This would be a perfect area for WBC. We haven't hosted one. That would be great.
I think that was part of the whole conglomerate with Marlins Park, that when they built it, like it was going to be they got the rights to it for I don't even know how long, but that was part of the whole rights thing, and it's just worked wonders down there. I mean,
and for the record, I have no doubt. I've been there. It's a great stadium, so on and so forth. Little Havana, I love it. I don't know if you ever went to the old Joe Robbie Stadium, SunTrust, or whatever it's called. I did with my buddy Jason. Love you, Jason. But we went down there to see the Marlins play the Tampa Bay Rays, and it was it was as advertised, hot, very, very cavernous, so on and so forth. It looked exactly like you're watching a baseball game in a football stadium, so on and so forth. Not best sight lines because it wasn't designed for baseball. But we're not talking about Marlins today. We're talking about the Rays and where they're at. So now here we are. So Stuart Sternberg, the deal fell through because of the hurricane, because of other aspects of it, and the city of Tampa, or the city of St. Petersburg, I feel, made a mistake. And what I mean by that is they're letting the team go, and they don't have a Major League ball team. They don't have a Major League option. Yeah, they have other options in St. Petersburg, such as, museums and other things that they can do that whole aspect. That's great, but they don't have that Major League aspect to really say, hey, we're a Major League town. We have our slice of the pie. Kind of like in comparison, you're talking about New York, Meadowlands, if you will. They have their Major League options. Can you imagine if Queens lost their team and they moved elsewhere in the boroughs, if you will? Queens losing their team.
I will say this: that if you ever know the history of all that, let's just go with the history of Mets and Yankees for real fast, especially stadiums. Where the Mets played, Shea Stadium, that was originally planned out to be where New York City wanted to move the Brooklyn Dodgers to.
Yeah.
So it was after the World's Fair. Brooklyn Dodgers came up with this grandiose idea. The first one that we're going to have a dome on their stadium, and they said no. We already built the stadium. It's going to be over in Queens, and they said no. Brooklyn Dodgers don't play in Queens. And they said, well, to get a new stadium, you're going to play in Queens, and that's when they said, we'll check back with you. Made their deals, went out to LA, and then said, okay, well, we need someone else to make their way past the Mississippi as well. Hey, Ebbett's, where Polo Grounds is falling apart as well. Hey, Giants, why don't you come over here? And they stuck them in San Francisco and kind of screwed them over, saying, "Oh, look how beautiful this is during the daytime." They did. They took them over there to where Candlestick Park was. Like, look at it during the daytime. Oh, it's great. And then all the games are at nighttime, and the winds are changing everything. And they go, "Oh, this is really different." Yeah. You even go back as far as when the Yankees are before they built the Yankee Stadium with the house that George Steinbrenner built, not the house that Babe Ruth built. Yeah. He was actually saying, screw it, I'll move the team to Yonkers, New York, which is just north, like literally half hour north, to a racetrack that was kind of teetering on bankruptcy at the time. So he was willing to take them out of the Bronx and move them up there to get the stadium he wanted. Mm-hmm. So the game, Stu is not the only one who's played the games. Everyone's played the games before. Oh, yeah. So, George was doing it as well. He was all about moving them out. You mentioned the Meadowlands earlier, like the New York Jets. Mm-hmm. They, when the whole stadium, the Giant Stadium, was up and then they were building the Meadowlands Stadium, which was going to be for both the Jets and the Giants. The Jets were over there going, we're going to try to go to the west side of New York City and build a stadium in the heart of Manhattan on the west side and cause gridlock every other Sunday during football season. And cooler heads prevailed. They went to the new Meadowlands Stadium. They made it now equal, where it's not Giant Stadium, it's Meadowlands. So the Jets have their own locker room. They built 3 different locker rooms. They have a Jets locker room, a Giants locker room, and then a visitors locker room. And when the Jets play, they got all green lights coming up. When the Giants play, it's all blue lights. So it kind of makes it more 50-50 as opposed to, this is Giant Stadium, and you have to, you're the redheaded stepchild coming in there.
Yeah, and that time period, the expansion era in baseball was very interesting. I'm a big history fan, and I love baseball history specifically. But during that time period in 1952, that was when basically they realized that a lot of the teams that had, or cities that had 2 franchises in it. New York, they had at the time period, they had 3 franchises living in New York, the Yankees, which were basically top bill, if you will, and really helped by, winning at that time period, 16 championships, I think.
Something like that. During that time, the World Series had to go through New York. It was either the Yankees were always in there, the Dodgers were there. The bums that they call themselves, that always wait till next year. We'll beat them next year. We'll beat them next year. You had the Giants that were always teetering around the way too. Boston had two teams as well. At one point, you had the Boston Braves and the Boston Red Sox. Chicago had the Northsiders and Southsiders. So
St. Louis had two teams. They had the Browns and they had the Cardinals. You also had Philadelphia having the Athletics. Yep, the Athletics. Back when you didn't have to worry about having a copyright, unlike now. So the Athletics and of course the Phillies. So during that time period, if you notice, the Boston Braves moved to Milwaukee. And then you had Philadelphia Athletics moving to Kansas City, go west, young man. And of course, you touched on the aforementioned debacle that is moving to Burlingame, California, which is right by San Francisco Airport. For those of you who've never been to the beautiful San Francisco area, Burlingame was an area not too far away from San Francisco Airport. It is foggy, it is wet, it's
windy. It is, but during the daytime when they showed it, it was pristine, and that's where they wanted to build.
But it's, I remember as a kid going there, and it was not pretty. It was a converted, football stadium. It looked old. It looked like the best years had passed, and this was in 93, 92, 93 when bringing back to the Tampa Bay Rays. That's one of the motivations why they wanted to move to a beautiful dome stadium, which was state-of-the-art at the time period. So, bringing it back to that. So, speaking of which, so now here we are on the timeline. So, Stu's out. Finally, he's bought out. Basically, Rob Manfred figured out that, this isn't working. There's not a lot of synergy, so on and so forth. And now we got Patrick Zablinski and his ownership group. And, it's amazing because within 3 months of him being identified as the owner and named as the owner, so on and so forth, they got essentially a stadium. Now, are you familiar? Well, clearly you know the area because the area that they're going to is right next to where?
George Steinbrenner Field. The George, as you like to call it.
Yep. Thank you. We'll be the George. Thank you very much. Come at me. Please don't. No, I'm kidding. But no, and that's going to be an interesting thing if that maintains, and that's going to bring me to my next point shortly. But so where they're going to put it is in the community college area known as Hillsborough Community College. It is sitting on 110 acres of land. I went to Hillsborough Community College. I know for a fact if you didn't get a good parking spot, having parked way down on the other side over by the juvenile hall area. Yes, that's there. Where that area is located at, it's adjacent to the airport. So you can see the airplanes come in and out. It's just about a couple blocks away from the landing strips of the airport. Part of my language, I just lost my train of thought. But so that's a huge plot of land. So if this goes through, it's going to be a major deal. It's going to be a big deal. No pun intended.
110 acres is what HCC has. So they could build the stadium that they want to build there.
Absolutely.
They could have premium parking there if they want to. They could work out a deal with Buccaneers to use the parking across the way.
Oh, they'll love that.
Probably get another extender to come across to them like they do with for the parking at the Bucks to go over to George Steinbrenner Field. It just comes down to what else can they do there, because you have the Bucks, you have the Yankee spring training facilities there. Then you're going to have them, and the model that they are trying to follow is exactly what the Atlanta Braves are doing, which is to create a entire area unto themselves, which is you have the ballpark and then you have everything around there, which is all going to be all revenue for the team. And to be honest with you, Rays need revenue coming into the team.
Absolutely.
They get luxury tax from the teams that go over. God bless the Dodgers, because they're going to be paying a dump load this year. They get money from being not just luxury tax, they get low revenue because the Rays are one of the low revenue teams. The top 5 have to pony up another additional 25 million. I think it is 25 million, which the Rays get, which I don't know why they never understood why they didn't expand their payroll by 25 million, but that's neither here nor there at that point. So
yeah, so with that, so I can explain that, but touching base with what it's going to look like and why it's a good deal is around this area where they're at. It's being reimagined, if you will. We have an uptown area not too far away from where the stadium's at, where there's a lot of luxury apartments there. There's a Whole Food store. There's a lot of fun to do in this little uptown area, which used to just house just one department store. They bulldozed it down, they cleared that area, and now it's just to do. And that's just about maybe 3/10 of a mile away from where the proposed stadium is going to be at. It's just up the way. I know you got some ties to the West Tampa area that's in that same adjacent area. West Tampa is a very awesome, cool Latino area. So if you guys ever go there, 100% I recommend go hang out. It's pretty good. You can see get some good Venezuelan food, Colombian food down the line. It's fantastic, but I digress. So what you're looking at is if they can do that, that's going to do well in my opinion because of how frequent people come in, the businesses that could attract, and the location with being at Raymond James Stadium. That's going to be perfect. It's similar to what you see like Kauffman Stadium, Pittsburgh area with the Steelers and Pirates. Kauffman Stadium with the Chiefs before Chiefs were moving to Kansas. No problem, no harm, no foul. Philadelphia, as Jay would be very well aware of that. So that little sister situation where you have the football stadium and the baseball stadium right there. As I touched on, if the Glazers owns that parking area, so if people park there, so if there's a couple years back, Lincoln Park had a concert over at the George. That's the hill I'm dying on, baby. All right. So they had a concert there at the George. That's where people would park, and Glazers was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Constantly the parking area like hosts for like raves and things like that. The EDM music scene. They have a festival there from time to time. You park on one side and then you go hang out on the other and enjoy that type of music if that's your thing. So to me, it's going to be a very interesting thing. Now, the interesting part, and this is where it's going to get very cozy very quickly. If they do build it, now it looks like that this is going to be something that will have, from all accounts, so the proposal vote is going to happen on January 20th. At the time of this recording, we're on January 16th, so we're talking in a couple days. The scuttlebutt is that this is happening. Supposedly, the people that work for HTC, the community college, are being told, guys, this is happening, so let's start talking about options and things like that, supposedly. So if that does happen, you're looking at clearing everything out, leveling it completely, and then shovels in the ground. And for all intents and purposes, when you hear the leadership group talk, they're pretty passionate about it. They're pretty optimistic about it. Now, once they procure the land, then it becomes about procuring the money. It almost sounds like that almost is a foregone conclusion. I don't know what the backstory is. I don't know where the money's coming from, but it sounds like that might be something that's already agreed upon. But it goes back to the Stuart Sternberg thing, where we already have the backing and the blueprints, if you will, the groundwork for a stadium. So it was just mainly re-engaging those plans that we already had set up, and Stu walked away from because it wasn't exactly what he wanted. So yeah, it just is very frustrating. But I'm happy that potentially we could be coming to head on this one, because for years as a Rays fan, it wasn't talking about, hey, what's going on with this guy or that guy. It was what's going on with your stadium. why don't you have more fans? Tampa's not a baseball town. Florida's a joke. Blah blah blah. Yeah, dealing with all those. So we're not talking about baseball. We're not talking about whether or not the star Zach Greinke, who's from the area, maybe attracting him come play for the Rays. We're not talking about that because no one ever thought we were a realistic possibility. So I'm really excited. Hopefully that can set up a good pathway for the Rays to be where they belong in relevance and people taking this seriously. Although I kind of like being an underdog year after year. People keep on thinking that we're going to be horrible and terrible. Over the last 20 years, we've only been picked to win the division, I think, twice. In that 20-year time period, everybody else usually picks us for about 4th place or 5th place, and then halfway in the season, how are they doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So it's going to be very interesting to see if we get that new stadium, how we become a little bit more relevant, and the things that we can attract, such as all-star games, such as WBCs, and other aspects, because the Bay Area does really well showing up and really showing out in many ways. So I'm super excited about that. Now, from your perspective as a Yankees fan, how would you feel? Okay, how would you feel like watching spring training games, or if your spring training games are on ESPN because they love showing your guys' games?
Oh yeah,
and that and then just in the shadow, a beautiful gleaming new stadium right there. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel a little bit awkward, or like you're being pushed out? Hopefully.
Well, I'll say this: the Yankees have been in the Tampa Bay area before the Rays. I think before the Rays were even
96, same time. So,
they've been there. I mean, you got to remember something. The Yankees have gone back and forth, going from East Coast to West Coast, back and forth. They were in Clearwater for many
Mark, just
many
give
years.
me this. Mark, just give me it. I realize that. I know exactly. I already.
You want. I know you want us out. And what I was getting to is that.
With passion.
I know. What I was going to say is that the Steinbrenner family.
Yeah.
At one point, they were looking at moving the spring training facilities up to Ocala.
Yeah.
So that don't forget, the Yankees do not own the land there, so they're renting. The stadium is on rented land.
Yeah.
So and they'll upgrade it. They do everything out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
They can at any point say, okay, well, maybe we want to build our own spot and move the team out of there. Maybe they want to move the team back to Fort Lauderdale, where they were 30 years ago, 40. So anything's possible. I don't know how much longer they have the lease there. Hal is a very interesting owner, to say the least. If you ever listen to my podcast, Bronx Muchachos, I've myself, co-host Dave, like we've gone in on Hal, and Hal is kind of one of those owners right now that he goes half in. He doesn't go. He go gets you to the goal line. He will not cross the goal line, and to me that's a big problem, especially with the name of George Stein, with the Steinbrenner name, and you're not going to be that kind of person. You're not going to have that kind of pizzazz and want to have the Yankees in that marquee name. And it seems like he's putting more mud on the name than he is more diamonds on the name, to say the least. Would them moving out be good for the Rays, especially if they get that? As you said, all lights are leading towards that being the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that, and I could kind of see I could see at some point, everyone saying, okay, giving them in the background, you're going to have to start looking for a new spring training facility.
Yeah,
and because that in and of itself, because mind you, understand this, it's not just that it's right next door. You have to realize that you have Hillsborough County Community College, Hillsborough Community College, or Hillsborough County College, whatever the hell you want to say it as. Just literally right north of it is Steinbrenner Field. But then you have over where Raymond James is going south. The Yankees have a lot of land over there as well, and they have another four. They have another 4 fields where they have their the complex leagues go there. They have extended. I can't talk right now. Extended spring training happens over there. A lot of facilities over there. A lot of training. A lot of all the that's where they kind of help out with as you mentioned before, the Dominican kids and the Latin American kids coming up. They help teach them how to Americanize them, how to speak English, how to balance your checkbook, how to balance your money, how to talk, how to do certain things. So it's a lot of land. It's not, connected, but it's not as bad as, say, like Dunedin, where you have the Blue Jays main stadium in one area, and then you got to go another 15-20 minutes elsewhere in Dunedin just to get to the other facilities that they have.
Yeah.
So I do see at some point where they can say, we're gonna keep this hometown stuff. You've done great for us, and you bring in a decent amount of money, but now we're gonna have more money coming in, and we could use all these different areas now for extended other things as well.
Yeah, in my opinion, as much as I like to throw jokes and things around about the rivalry, things like that, the Tampa Bay area, especially over the last 30-40 years, we're truly grateful of what the Steinbrenners did and the Yankees itself. Don't ask me to say it more than once, for the record.
Okay? It's on record right now. I got it.
Yeah. I'm going to say it once, and I'm just going to say that there was something in my coffee at that time period. I got drugged. But anyways, don't do drugs, kids. But no, for those who don't know, we got a high school named after George Steinbrenner. So now, granted, it's up north, away from the downtown area, away from where his stadium's at. The Steinbrenner family, when I moved here in 99, my first apartment was not too far away from the docks that were owned by George Steinbrenner, that's where he made a lot of his money with the boat industry and the docks, so on and so forth. So, and that's one of the reasons why he chose this area, in my opinion.
The family that's where the family was living at the time. So he didn't want to have to keep going to Fort Lauderdale to watch the team. It was, I want them near me. So
absolutely. If those of you are familiar with Kyle Tucker went to a local high school called Plant High School. His house is literally a stone's throw. Probably Kyle Tucker's probably accidentally hit his house a couple times with some of his bombs in high school. Just saying. But that's neither here nor there. But there's absolute gratitude for the Steinbrenner family. He was very gracious with his donations. I believe it's St. Joseph Children's Hospital. It was funded by George Steinbrenner. I believe the story is his grandkids or something like that got sick, and he was trying to take them to a local hospital, and he wasn't happy with it, so he opened up his checkbook and he started a wing of the St. Joseph Hospital, children's wing, and he made it happen. So, and I'm obviously skipping over a couple pieces, but that's just what he did to the area and what he did to invest in the area. So, as much as I'm talking brash and talking big, to be fair with you, there's a lot of good to be had in this area. So, we're grateful of it. It's just, to me, it's time for the Tampa Bay area to be a major league town, not a stop in spring training, not a minor league town, not a single A town, in my opinion. This is a lot of good things are going on in this area. A lot of transportation we're growing, and I believe with the changing of times, the new stadium is just a more representation of how things are changing in the area, and they're in the big leagues, if you will. So we'll see about that. I'm really excited about the future. So the next step is January 20th. The vote will go in, and then, in my opinion, what's going to happen is the dominoes are going to fall very quickly. Once that happens, then you're going to learn about the infrastructure more than likely, and how it's going to be paid for, what it's going to look like, and then you'll get the renderings. They probably already know what it's going to look like, but you'll get the renderings on what the stadium is going to look like and where it's going to develop. And then, before you know it, you and me will go sit in some lawn chairs and watch the concrete get laid, baby. They gotta get the ceremonial shovels and start dig out their little piece of dirt for it first. You know what? When no one's looking, I'll go grab a couple shovels. You and me, just pop a couple. Here you go. A Yankee fan, a Ray fan, just pop a couple. There you go, bam. But no, it should be a lot of fun, a lot of optimism. Again, what this is, it's a breath of fresh air, and it's really sad that it's looming on the shoulders of a lockout. And having survived the strike, I'm very, very optimistic and pessimistic in the same regards. It's like, okay, what, the lockout happens and a year and a half happens. I mean, as a Lightning fan, I know I keep on trying to bring up a Lightning every single time I'm on one of your podcasts. You're welcome. But as a Lightning fan, they won the Stanley Cup, and then they didn't get a chance to defend it because the lockout happened. They lost a whole season. So the word lockout to a Tampa Bay sports fan, in my opinion, should put shivers down your spine. And I hope that everything will be well. I think it will, but the Rays fans have been jerked around so much with new stadiums, with new ideas. I traveled when the Ybor City site was going to be happening almost every day. When my son was born, I would drive there so he would take a nap. I would drive by the stadium and I would just envision it. Just drive through and just go, okay, that's where the outfield is going to be. Oh man, this is going to be great. Imagining taking him to his first game, because that time period was supposed to open around like 2016. So, imagine taking him to his first game during that time period and just the memories that I was going to make. And that didn't come to fruition. So, hopefully, and that was supposedly a done deal. And in many ways it was. It's just last minute, it wasn't the deal that he was looking for. The same thing that he did to St. Petersburg.
So it seemed like the common denominator always at the end of the day was always just one person. It was always Stu Sternberg. He was the common denominator of why. And you can say it this way, that for all the good that he implemented with that team, my joke is that I can't get behind a team that if you were to buy the jersey or the jersey or whatever the case may be, that the name on the back can't always say front office. Because that's the most important part of them, because they treat their players interchangeably. Forget about your Wander Francos and the issues that he had, but you've had your Evan Longorias, and you've gotten rid of him, and he was supposed to be, who should have been your the only should be the only jersey he ever wore, and they still traded him away. Like they did it with David Price. They've done it with everybody else. They've done it with all their stars, and at some point, it's a very just as a baseball fan, it's a very frustrating thing that, this is the Rays again. They're going to, that they're going to, with it, that by a certain time, Junior Cameronero, he's going to be on the market. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a feeling that, they don't have the money for him. They're going to trade him off. They'll trade him with a couple of years left on his with a couple of years of arbitration, so that they can get the extra prospects along the way. As opposed to saying, nah, this is my dude here. Let me lock him in. Like they try to, honestly, with Wander Franco, and I'm not making the jokes anymore about his situation, but they saw Wander Franco as a stud player, and they wanted to lock him in to be the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Instead of the face of.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
That's why I'd let it tail that way.
I appreciate it. No problem. To everybody, it's a punchline, but to anybody who's a Rays fan, that was supposed to be it. He was going to be the dude. He was going to be there for his career. He was going to be there for his career. Yeah. And the thing is, like when he, for the record, what he did is inexcusable. Let me be abundantly clear. So on and so forth. So I'm not happy about it. I don't got too much to say about it. So on and so forth. But it was very frustrating because we invested into that. Like I remember because each year I always try to buy a new jersey, if you will, for that season. And it's always a difficult time. I joked I was on another podcast with Jeremy, and the other guys talking about the Hall of Fame, which tune in, guys. That's a shameful plug. You're welcome. But after we were done, we were hamming it up, and I was talking about, if the advertisements were smart, they would have this system in place where the last name and the numbers would Velcro off, and as soon as they get the new star, they would send it to you for free, and you just put it in there and Velcro it up, and there you go. There's your guys. That would be something that would work, But it's extremely frustrating because to be a Rays fan is not to be a Yankees fan, not to be a Giants fan, it's not to be a fill in the blank fan. It's to be someone who's very savvy. Like, for example, I was talking about WOBA, ex-WOBA, and these stats and these sabermetric stats, in 2006, because that's what they kept on pushing, was this new wave of math, if you will, this new stat. I remember the first time me and my pops, who's a lifer, old school guy, all that fun jazz, were in a game, and he was asking, what is OPS plus? He's like, I've never seen that. This was in like 2007, and they showed the stats, and they were really trying to push that new wave of stats. And I didn't know. I'm like, I don't know that. He goes, well, this is your team. You should be able to know what they're talking about here. I'm like, I don't know, Pop. So I had to look it up. I had homework to do to be a fan.
And don't forget, this year is the first time I think I've seen that baseball across the board has made the change from, on the billboards, there's no more, or on the scoreboard when you're at bat, there's no more batting average. It is OPS.
Yeah.
So they're showing that's part of the change of the forward thinking, and you're gonna have loggerheads with the old school guys where it's like your OPS could be great, but it's not gonna score you runs. It's not gonna do this. It's not gonna do that. So it's a fun, interesting way of looking at baseball as it continues to move forward, and that's many of the Rays. Their footprints is really ushering that in, because people are like, how are they able to do this? And they were looking at stats in a different way. Now, what they're doing wasn't any different than what the Twins were doing, the Indians were doing, and of course the Oakland Athletics were doing. Very similar in terms of what their perspectives were. We just took it a different degree with a different perspective in a way. Basically, it was the same language, just a different dialect, if you will. So, I mean, and don't forget all the big market teams were doing it as well. The Yankees had their own analytics department, and they were looking at all these numbers as well. The Red Sox were doing it. The Red Sox employed Bill James, like the founder of all this stuff. They employed him. So everybody, everyone was doing it. Maybe not the Mets at that time, like during the 2000s, because. Or maybe even the Dodgers to a certain extent, because they were going through their financial difficulties along the way. I mean, the McCourts, and then you had the Wilpons, so they had a lot of issues. I mean, they were having issues. Both teams were having issues making payroll. So, those are dark days for different reasons, for unfortunate reasons. I mean, McCourt, that was on his own doing. Like, he treated the Dodgers as his own personal checking book, and the Mets are like, oh, we're just investing with this one guy. Oh, what's his name? Oh, Bernie Madoff. Yeah, no, we're making 10 points. We're making 10 points on everything here. No, we can afford to give Bobby Bonilla. We can take his $5 million and we can give him the interest and pay him $1.19 million for 25 years.
Yeah,
because we're gonna make so much money, because we're making so much money right now.
I mean, and that's the interesting push of Major League Baseball to that more, from the old school days to more analytics. For better or worse, it's here. Now we're talking launch angle. We know everyone's exit VO. We know spin rate, things to that accordance. Whereas if you were to say that 20 years ago, I would have thought that you're speaking a foreign language.
Even to a certain extent, like 10 years ago, because you got to think of it this way. They were, spin rates and stuff like that. Like, you were still baseball was still employing old school pitching coaches, so they were teaching the old way of doing things. They weren't having the high velocity cameras out there. They weren't up. There's teams that weren't doing that kind of thing, and they had to. A lot of them had to catch up with the times really fast.
Yeah, if you guys out there in the internet want to have some fun, Google Goose Gossage, and he has a great perspective on the new school way of doing things. He has a certain word that's not very polite, talking about the front office staff and their perspectives on it. Yeah. So, yeah, you guys can figure it out. Don't worry about it. But no, and a couple of things, because we're going to wrap up pretty soon, but a couple of things. So right now, the plan's in place. If this stadium deal goes down in Del Mabry, that's the major street that it's located at, by the way. There's talk about the Rays going back to using Outland as their spring training home. That's where they'll play their spring training games. So they'll move back to the St. Pete area, and they'll kind of make Outland Stadium back to what it once was, a spring training facility. So there's talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a better idea, because in order to do that, then they have to get rid of the USL soccer team, the Tampa Bay Rays. They have to move them on. But what I think could be the real kicker to it all is the following: is that kind of what we were just talking about with the Yankees, is that having the Yankees kind of move on and do their own, move on to another stadium, either they help build a stadium or the Yankees find new places. They take over. The Rays then take over what the Yankees have give up, and then honestly, that's a one-stop shop for the Rays. They have spring training. They have the spring training facility right next to the big stadium. They can really kind of double dip along the way for spring training games. Whereas you can kind of open up the concession stands for the Rays Stadium. You have concession stands over at the minor league stadium. You have a lot of things happening going along there. Everybody's centrally located. Now it becomes a destination kind of like what Arizona is for baseball, where you have the minor league facilities and the spring training facilities and Arizona Diamondbacks facilities all really closely centralized together, where it is a year-round living, where you don't have to go, okay, well, we go to Florida for 6 to 8 weeks, and then we're going to go to New York, or we're going here, or we're going there. Now it's like the selling point for the Rays would be, well, you don't have to move anymore. Your family is now here. You can literally come here, train all winter long, go home to your family, go to your game, go home to your family. Like that is a big that could be for players a big selling point, and to bring in more veteran type of guys going, look what you have here. You don't have to separate your family for long.
Absolutely. Now the only downfall to that is I don't know, like the purist in me, and sometimes I have that argument in my head, is part of the fun is spring training is to kind of get out of that environment a little bit, and kind of almost like remember the Titans, if you will, where you were
go to camp somewhere else.
Go to camp somewhere else, build that camaraderie, and things of that accordance. So therefore you kind of see, you almost in your head earn that right to play in the major league stadium, and it's not a situation where it's almost a given. It's like, I'll be next door before you know it. No, you got to earn that right. I don't know, part of me, I'm all for simplicity. That would be great, so on and so forth. A couple of things now, because the Hillsborough County Community College is going to be gone. They got relocated somewhere. It wouldn't surprise me if at some point the Yankees facility, their facility where the Dom Rep kids are at, if that becomes the new Hillsborough County Community College, and that will set up the Yankees going somewhere else, where around the 5 county areas, if they stay in the Bay Area. I love to have them. I don't mind. All jokes aside. I can see that happening. But so you're touching on the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So more than likely what's happening is Tampa Bay Rowdies and the female soccer team, the Tampa Bay Sun, they are having a stadium. This was where Stewie screwed us again. It's going to be pretty nice. It's going to be right there on the water, over by Ybor City. It's only 33 acres, so it wasn't really that attractive, because they're looking for this whole battery thing. So it's just 33 acres. It's right there on the water. There's this inland path where you would take your ships to get adjusted and cleaned and things of that accordance. It's going to be right there on the docks. It's going to be gorgeous. So the talk is the Sun and the Rowdies are going to have that stadium, and they're going to share that responsibility. So that's where they're moving, more than likely. And remember, the Zabliskie ownership group, they now own the Rowdies as well. So they're double dipping, essentially. So, and there's always talk about maybe eventually Major League Soccer coming back to Tampa Bay. They used to have Tampa Bay Mutiny once upon a time, to really go in the way back machine. So it could be very interesting. So tune in, keep up. By all means, keep up with what's going on with the Rays. It should be really interesting. Just them potentially getting a stadium is almost like them getting a $200 million, $300 million free agent. Because in terms of the perspective that it will bring to the community, in terms of the better profile that it makes for international free agents and also national free agents coming to Tampa, because a lot of times, it's not always sexy because players hear the jokes, they hear the jokes about the catwalks and things like that. So yeah, if you had a choice between that or Atlanta, why would you choose the Trop? I get it, I understand it, but if you got a nice beautiful stadium right there in the heart of everywhere and we connect it properly and do a lot of good things, it could be a lot of fun.
It could be. I think for them to do it, they have to hit on two things. They have to hit on the stadium the right way, but then I think in order to help with that stadium, they might have to then dip into the pockets and really overspend and spend on and at least maybe not spend, but being in the market for a top tier free agents, because that's the one thing that you can say that they don't do is they don't sniff the top of the food chain.
I disagree. They were in the running. They were in the final for Freddie Freeman. They offered a legitimate contract to Aaron Judge, over $300 million. They offered a legitimate contract to Bryce Harper. Granted, it was a pillow contract, but they were talking about $60 million for 1 year. Legitimate.
Okay, but is it more along the lines of like the Marlins did with the Aroldis Chapman to turn around and say, we're going to offer you this money, and then we know that we're not going to get him, but we just want to drive up the price for somebody else.
No,
because I think like the Aaron Judge one, it was, we're just going to get in the game and to get the name in the game, because there was no way Aaron Judge was going to come to there was no way he was going to the Rays.
So it was a legitimate contract. I basically what happened is Aaron Judge, from what I know, from the people that I know, he couldn't see, in my opinion, he didn't know what the next step was. He didn't want to be there on a rebuild. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to be the guy that made $300 million and then he's surrounded by guys making 2-3. Kind
of like A-Rod back in the day with Texas. Like you have A-Rod making the buku dollars, and then everyone else is under $1 million for that Texas team.
Yeah, so something to that accordance. So that's essentially what happens. But because it's not sexy, because it's the Rays, people always, and that's why I get perturbed and really annoyed when people are like, you don't spend money. It's like, they're realistic contracts. I mean, continually, the Rays have always been like right there at the final deal, especially, we almost got Craig Kimbrell before he went to the Cubs. Right there's a contract on the line. Boris held out and kept on wanting more money, kept on using us, basically get a better deal for the Cubs. Matt Wieters, same thing. They had us dangling, and then they ended up signing with Nationals. And there's time again, Marcelo Osuna, before he signed with the Atlanta Braves, same deal. We had a legitimate contract on the line. It was a pillow contract. I believe it was 1 year, $25 million. Legitimate. It was legitimate right on the dot. But he was looking for more years, things of that accordance, and the players themselves use that, not the Rays going, hey, look, we're relevant. See, we're trying. No, I think it's the reverse. It's a legitimate contract, but the other players will use that and go, I got a legitimate contract from the Rays. You're not going to let the Rays outspend you, are you? I think it's more that type of conversation. So, the judge could go, hey, look, the Rays are even giving me $300 million. Come on, guys. What are you doing? You really want me to wear a Rays uniform? Which you and I both know that he probably would have gone to the Giants before he went to the Rays. But hey, that's neither here nor there.
The Padres offered him full for $400.
Yeah. So it was, and I'm certain that the Rays' legitimate contract probably had something to do with that motivating factor. More than likely. But again, we can play retrospeculation all we want. At the end of the day, they didn't sign. But for the Rays to quote unquote not spend money, and you touched on this earlier, and we're going to wrap up in a second, then go have a little fun, then we'll wrap up. But you were touching on, with the money, it's not going to payroll. it goes payroll to time, but it also goes towards the infrastructure, doing things such as the Dominican schools and other things that they were going to. At one point, the Rays were pushing to put a school in Brazil. That was legitimate back in 2009, 2010, that area, to have an academy in Brazil. So these are all factors that cost money, and also their staff. To have the staffs that they have, people, that's where they're investing a lot of their money, is the front office. Like you said, the jersey for the front office, yeah. Paying guys.
So, and I understand that there's a semantics when they say that the money they get from revenue, the money they get from luxury tax, should be for on the field product, and it's a very semantics of what does on the field product mean? Is it stadium? Is it front office that is part of that works for on the field? I get all that. I would like more. I would like for baseball to define this more, where it says, I would like these teams, and it's not just the Rays. So don't get me wrong. We're talking Rays, so I'm just using Rays. I'd like for them to put that into players going onto the field. I'd like for the Rays to up their. I'd like for them at about 60 $80 million in payroll, right? Give or take. I'm thinking I'm in the ballpark there of what the Rays payroll is.
Currently?
Yeah.
Currently it's under 100. It's about 90.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because you gotta remember arbitration numbers and all that fun stuff. But before arbitration, you're right. It was around 77, and then after arbitration. So, anyways, finish the point. Sorry, man. I apologize.
No, it's okay. What I'm saying is, I would like for that that luxury tax money that they get. I'd like for that additional revenue, that 25 million that they get in revenue, to be put into get a free agent player to come in here. You can spread it out along the way. You don't have to go 25 mil a season for said player, but maybe go 10 mil, get a 10 million or $15 million player, not for one season, but spread that out over a couple of years. So that will in fact have more revenue coming in for the team as well. And having them get more revenue will then give them, they don't have to play quote unquote in the shallow end. I'm putting them in quotations, but they will move them into bigger waters, and they might be able to go in and have a real they had, as you said, they had a conversation with Judge, but we both knew Judge isn't going down to Tampa Bay, but they could come down in years to come. There could be a conversation for a Gunnar Henderson. There could be a conversation for a the next whatever the case may be. Any of these guys who aren't signing their big deals after a year and a half. That's what I'm talking about. So hopefully that it makes it more competitive, and that in and of itself makes baseball better, because when you have high end teams and low end teams, and there's no big gaps, and you start bridging those gaps, like the lower revenue teams will start moving up the food chain. All of a sudden, now you're going to see products going everywhere, and going strictly for the area. That will make people, there'll be more fans here, they'll bring more revenue, the stadium will be popping. I mean, gotta remember something. I mean, you want to know how I always remember the Rays, as besides the Devil Rays, when they were getting kicked all over the place. My biggest memory was I had moved for work. I'd moved from New York to Delaware, and the Rays were staying in Delaware for the 2008 World Series. And they didn't even think of they weren't expecting themselves to be back into Philadelphia, and they were staying in Philadelphia.
Yep.
They then had to go to Delaware because they couldn't get the hotel back, because they didn't think that they weren't planning that far in advance to hold the hotel rooms for all the games and all the days that were needed. And you flip the coin, and then when they were when the games were down here in Tampa, they were giving playoff tickets away. They were giving they couldn't sell out the stadium, and they were giving tickets away to everyone. Those are kind of
more recently. Yeah, you're talking about
And those are memories that kind of stick around. So that's when you hope that, even as not as a fan of the Rays, but as a baseball fan, you hope that changes. And I'm hoping that this organization, and especially the new ownership, sees what's going on and makes a concerted effort to make that change. And the possibility of moving them out of Pinellas County and moving them over to Hillsborough County, that's where everyone Even Stu was like, that's where they wanted to move. They don't want to be in Tampa. They didn't want to be in St. Pete. They wanted to be on the other side of the bay. So, sometimes it's beware what you wish for. So, you can't, if it doesn't work out for them there, they can't complain about it anymore, because that was always the big crutches. Well, they're not in Tampa. They're not in Tampa, so they can't. That's why they don't draw.
Yeah, and a lot of this is inspired. If you guys get a chance to see Who Killed the Montreal Expos, the Netflix documentary, it was very eerie to see Jeffrey Loria talk when they showed him talking about when he bought the Expos, and you're talking about your boy Samson, who has a great podcast, by the way. Check him out, and if he ever wants us on, we'll be happy to join by all means. But he was when they showed them a lot of the same excuses that Stu was talking about. We can't survive on this. We need more revenue. It was very eerie because I heard it in the back of my head, and literally it was making my stomach turn. So it was very eerie. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I just hope that it's not going to be a situation where we are the next Montreal Expos, where we say what might have been, and the Nashville fill in the blanks will be wearing the Rays colors to pay homage to their history. Hopefully that won't be the situation. I feel very strong, especially over the last 3 weeks, that that's not going to happen. But it still could happen. You never know. Like you pointed out, until you get shovels in the ground, it's not a done deal. Even then, there's still ifs, ands, and maybes that might come about. I mean, it's their land. Zablinski could say it's their land. They could develop and make it condos if the stadium falls through. So it's not exactly like, hey, this is the end all to be all. But hopefully everything will turn out well. I definitely am excited about the next 25 years. I hope that the Rays sign Junior to a long-term deal. I hope that that's the next piece that goes about. Him stay a Ray for 15 years. That would be awesome. And I hope that the Rays continue to develop and continue to piss off the Yankee fandom and Red Sox fandom and Oriole fandom.
And Blue Jay fandom. Don't forget Blue Jays, because the Blue Jays are the creme de la creme right now of the AL East.
Call me in 3 years.
That's right. I'm saying right now is what I'm saying.
I know. But hey, remember in 2015, it was like, oh man, they ended up 4th place and then 5th place, and then and so no. Toronto, love you, all that fun jazz. High five to you. But no. But it should be a lot of fun, and we'll definitely talk more about as the season comes about the 5-team race, or as you guys call it, the 4-team race, and the Rays are supposed to be the worst team out of it. So we'll see how that turns out. It's hard to say that team that hit 256 and most of the lineup still coming back, who is relevant, are still there, hit 256, number 8 in the league for a batting average, and a lot of different figures, and the pitching is still there.
You now got Gavin Lux on your team.
Oh yeah, he's going to hit his 2 bombs. Yeah, but here's the thing: he's 260. And that's not Brandon Lau. He's more of a consistent hitter, so I'm okay with that.
I wasn't saying as a knock. I was sitting there going, they were looking to get rid of Brandon Lau. They got Gavin Lux. I like Gavin Lux. I think he's a good player. I mean, and they can move him around. He can play short. He can play second. He can play third. He can play the outfield. He can play left field. I mean, he's not a quote unquote utility player, but he's got the tool. He's got all the tools in the belt that if you need to spell somebody else somewhere, he can make the move there. Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be an interesting season. Definitely, if the Rays become relevant, it's going to be one of these things where it's like, wow, we didn't see this one coming. Kind of like the Red Sox last year, where everyone thought the Red Sox were going to be very bad, and they ended up going very far. I just think if everyone undersells the Rays, you're doing their own peril. And hopefully that new stadium will be a bigger conversation piece throughout the season. But before we go, I want to have a little bit of fun, because you are a Tampa Bay resident, if you will. So if the Rays get the stadium, they're going to have some naming rights. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So All right, so you know the local area, you know the local jive. I challenge you to pick a company that you think that is going to be a good representation that will be the naming rights of the stadium. So, like for example, Tropicana Field, the Tropicana company has the naming rights. Well, so hear me out. College Hunks that Haul Junk Stadium. They're a local franchise. They're pretty popular. They're franchisee and they're a moving company. So there you go. We're going to go to the College Hunks to Haul Junk Stadium, folks. Let's go ahead. We're live from the World Series where the Tampa Bay Rays are playing the LA Dodgers from College Hunks at Haul Junk Stadium. What are we calling it if you had the naming rights?
Well, I kind of alluded to the fact of what, especially Dale Mabry, what everyone refers to down there is where you need to go to if you come in there. You could always
got the dancing girls.
That's what I'm saying. Down right. You got the Pink Pony showgirls right up the street. So why not make it
right across the street? Yeah.
Yeah. Why not make it? Oh, the Rays against the Mets, and right here at the Pink Pony.
Oh, that's right. We're watching the World Series, the Rays versus the Mets, and we're in the Pink Pony Stadium. All right, the first pitch would be very interesting.
And kind of be like with we were talking about Marlins Park with the original Marlins Park. I actually like that a lot better than what the Jeter Sherman group had done to it. They kind of made it a little bit more bland, but the original one was very vibrant. Like the colors were really out there, and then you had like the Clevelander bar down there, and they would have women with body paint and everything. Like no, if you got to be 18 to get in here right now, and like have that kind of not to say the Rays need that vibe, but you know what, when you have what you have on Dale Mabry close by, and then you have it all kind of surrounding, it's kind of right there. It's kind of being thrown in your face. You might as well lean into it.
Okay, so the Pink Pony Stadium. There you go, folks. Yeah. All right. Well, that is all. Sir, thank you very much for joining me for this walk down memory lane. So remind us what you're doing, where we can find you, Mark, as always.
Well, of course, yeah. Bronx Muchachos podcast. We go on pretty much every either Tuesdays or Thursdays, 9 p.m. Next week actually will be our 200th episode in totality. So come check it out. We got some fun guests. We got the original line. We got the main lineup that we've had for quite a number of years. So we're getting everybody back. We're getting our good friend who's been with us for quite some time, Scott Sanders, former MLB pitcher. He'll be joining us on the pod as well. Go check us out on all social medias. Real Bronx Muchachos on Instagram, Bronx Muchachos 1 on Twitter. So we got not just Twitter, but we have the other ones too. Instagram, we have TikToks, all that fun stuff. Go check us out on all those on all the platforms. Facebook, still people use Facebook. Go check us out there. Myself, Dave, we'll be catching everybody Tuesdays or Thursdays. Coming week will be a Thursday night, so we'll catch you on Thursday night.
All right. Well, yeah, be certain to check it out. I jumped in on the podcast one time. You guys were great, outstanding, and it's an absolute pleasure. So you guys live stream, I believe. Am I right?
We do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do our shows live.
Mm-hmm. So be certain to check them out. Go ahead and jump in and give Dave the razz. I love razzing them wherever I can. But thank you again coming up. And folks, if you like what you're hearing today, please go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button and tune in here at Baseball Banter Broadcast for all our wonderful content. We have a lot of fun stuff coming out. And if you are a fan of the Rays, if you're a fan of the Yankees, if you're a fan of any of the Major League ball teams and you want to represent your club, we're looking for spots for you guys to jump in and join us. And who knows, maybe you'll be sitting next to Mark and I debating why the Rays won the World Series. Who knows? But thank you again for tuning in. And please come check us out next time. And keep on enjoying baseball, guys.
Take care, everyone.